Hello, hello. This is Jacqueline of Women in Need of Empowerment. I'm so glad you're here with me. Ladies, we're going to be talking about the word forgiveness. I'm so glad that you decided to join me here in the vineyard. We're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness, but as it relates to us as women, how we see ourselves. Well, when you think about the word forgiveness, it's simply, releasing or ceasing to feel resentment against someone. And as women, we can be our worst enemies. We hold ourselves hostage longer than we hold those that we love. Now, research shows, and I'm going to quote this, those who practice forgiveness have better mental, emotional health, they think more positively, and they have healthier relationships. Think about that for a moment. We've all heard those conversations about women who have a greater capacity than men to forgive. I believe this is directly related to one of the reasons we were created. And that is because we were created to be nurturers as well. That's one of the things that we do as women. We nurture very well. Think about it when you have your children, and you cannot teach, you cannot train, you cannot disciple them if you're constantly holding grudges and walking around in unforgiveness with your kids. Now, that's a simple example of the importance and understanding that God gave us the ability to have compassion and empathy in a very deep way as women. And still, in spite of all of that, we so unnecessarily go around with an attitude of unforgiveness toward ourselves. So the question is, why are we so hard on ourselves? And I believe it's three top reasons for me. And I'm being very transparent here, ladies. Three top reasons for me. No, I didn't go get research on this. I'm just thinking in my head. These are three reasons as to why we walk around being so hard on ourselves. One, unrealistic expectations. We don't have an S on our chest. It's just fictitious. We are not created to be and do all for everyone. The other reason is the need to please. Now, that's a common characteristic because we're caretakers and counselors and a whole list of other things. But some of us are the ones who bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan. And so that need to please runs a little bit deeper in some of us, because we're responsible for it all. So not just a need to please, but a need to make sure everyone is okay. And then a need to prove is another reason why we're so hard on ourselves, because we wear so many hats. We are in a constant state of proving ourselves in our homes, to our spouses, to our children, to our parents, to our co-workers, to our bosses. We're constantly proving ourselves over and over and over again. And you know what this does? This leads to what I call the who or what I should be disorder. The who or what I should be disorder. We spend a lot of time in our heads, and we're going up and down this mental list of who or should we be. We should be. It's unfair to us, first of all, to do that to ourselves, but it's what we do. We actually think we're making progress when in reality we are saying, I'm not enough, so I need to do more. And so I'm not enough, so I need to be more. And guess what? We've now convinced ourselves that we will never measure up. Because what's happening is that list is too extensive. It's too broad. And so we try to run up and down that mental list of shouldas, couldas, wouldas. And then we now get to a place where we feel we don't measure up. And guess what that leads to? It leads to shame and bitterness. Now, there's a woman in scripture in the book of Ruth. Her name is Naomi. And I can only imagine that the widow Naomi in that book, in that text, that she might have gone through a cycle of feeling that she was not enough. I mean, let's think about it. Let's recap that. You're familiar with the story of Ruth. Ruth was the daughter-in-law of Naomi. Naomi had lost her husband and her sons. She was in a foreign land. She'd done everything she thought was great to be a good mother, a good wife, and even now a good mother-in-law. Now she stands in a position where she is full of shame and bitterness because she has nothing. She's lost everything. So I'm just pondering in my head about being a woman in Naomi's shoes. Could she have been ashamed of leaving and having to return with nothing to her homeland? Could she have been a little ashamed of having a Moabite as her daughter-in-law? Could she have been a little ashamed and self-blaming, wondering if there was anything she could have done to prevent this tragedy? Maybe she should have talked to her husband more and convinced him not to relocate. Maybe she should have prayed more. Maybe she should have fasted more. Can you see the cycle? How endless this cycle is? God does not expect his daughters to do more or to be more. He expects us to trust him in the process. He expects us to receive his love and forgiveness. He expects us to know we will never measure up. And because he knows that we'll never measure up, and we know we'll never measure up to what the world wants, then it's okay because he's covered it. It's time to forgive yourself. God knew that you're not going to measure up to what the world expectations are of you. He never required us to do that. He never required us to create that should have list. I should be doing this. I should look like this. I should say that. He never required that of us. Those are the world. That is the world system and way of getting us into this box where we will never, ever measure up. That was not God's intention. It's time to forgive yourself and anyone else who we or you have allowed to hold you captive to these unrealistic expectations. It's time to release. Proverbs 31:30 reads, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." The gospel truth is this: no matter what you look like or what worldly riches you have, a woman's commitment to the Lord is what truly matters. That is your saving grace, my sister. Remember to like us, subscribe, and share our broadcast. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you here in the vineyard. And also remember that here at Wine, we're just educating, equipping, and empowering women to move in the direction of God's promises. That's our primary goal. Remember, ladies, to live in purpose, on purpose, and do not apologize for it. Take care. Bye-bye.